of August 17, 2015 as presented.
August 3rd.
Second.
August 3rd, did you say?
Yes. It's 17th.
Oh,
It's August
second
3rd.
meeting of August
Okay.
3rd. I'm sorry, sir. I was
Yeah, all right.
It's second as amended.
Just thought I'd help you out there a little.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate
No problem.
that.
Okay, we have a first and second roll call, please.
Grana.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Martinez.
Abstain.
Anninger. Aye. Mayor O'Hara.
Aye.
Did Tony say?
Okay, next is the public hearing of vacating a portion of the street. Wade. Applicant's the city of Florence. Wade, you got your homework done?
Yes,
All right.
pretty simple one. Good evening. This application for a vacation of the remaining portion of the right-of-way of Sylvanite Street, from Marble to the remaining portion of the street right-of-way. Currently, the street was platted. There was no street was ever built. It's on the side of a hill. We did a notification for utilities and notification to owners nearby. We only got one response of somebody in favor, and that letter is included in your packet. The Fremont Sanitation District called and said they had no problems with the vacation, and that as far as I've been notified, nobody has any utilities in there. So it currently is serving no purpose, and according to Colorado Revised Statute, the property will revert back to the owners. This came about thanks to Mr. Caruso's doing some title work and trying to sell his house, and really this is causing an issue, and it's really doing no good for the city. There's no utilities in here, so we've made an application to vacate this right of way, and the land will revert back, and this will no longer be a problem in the future.
Okay. Paul?
Wade, I have some problems with this. Number one, you got, on the other side of the hill, you got a platted street that isn't platted, that goes no place. And why isn't that being included in this? That's number one. And then number two, why should the city give away property?
That's a question for you guys. It's really doing us no good, and it's
Well, I mean, you're
generating.
recommending it to us. Why shouldn't we?
Because it just becomes an area that nobody has responsibility for, so it gets weeds and trees.
I will tell you what, I can take you over there and I can show you 4 houses that have built halfway up the hill that was supposed to be the alleyway. I know, because my studio sits right up there.
Yeah.
And if you look down there, the first 3 houses, no, there's 2, 3, and 4 houses that have built onto city property. That's bad.
I mean, one thing is the assessment, or Mike's, go ahead.
Mike, go ahead.
Well, one of the things that the discussion we've had with council up to this point is that we wanted to try to vacate as many of these as possible if there were no utilities and there was no planned utilities on them, because then we don't have to maintain them and we start to receive at least some small taxes for them. So that's been the direction that we had from council before. If council wants to go a different direction, let us know. But that's why we've been trying to identify some of these sites around the community. This is about the 4th one, I think, that we've worked on, something like that, 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
They end up becoming.
So it's a different direction from council. We can go the other direction, but
Yeah.
the direction we've gotten so far was to do these and to eliminate these when they didn't serve any purpose in terms of a utility purpose or an alley for people to drive up and down.
Well, I can see what didn't serve any purpose. I really don't have a problem with it. I just want to know. And the other question that I wanted an answer to was very simply, is why don't we vacate theoretically the street that goes on the opposite side of that?
Theoretically, we want
Good.
at least that was the direction we had from council before, was that they had directed us if there's not utilities through there, then that's or not planned utilities through an area like this Sylvanite, like the other one you're talking about. I think that's another one. But you've got to have kind of a champion who wants it too. The city of Florence is doing it, but in this particular situation, we do have property owners who are interested in taking the piece. In the other one you're talking about, I don't think they're interested in taking it, but if they are, we certainly would love to again, if it doesn't fit.
It's not a question of wanting to take it, it just serves no function. I mean, you've got a hill and you've got nothing but rocks there, yet it's platted, and then you come up to the other side, and then you have the park, and then Public Works have taken rocks, boulders, and blocked that off, and it serves no function. And just like this piece of property serves no function. And I don't blame Joseph, I think that I would want it done too, because it is.
Well, and it's going to encourage
It can be very potentially a good area.
This-
It just needs to be managed.
It encourages citizens to take ownership of that property, and then it eliminates blight, because now they'll come in and take care of it. And it's really difficult for Sam or Martin or any of the crews to get in there and take care of some of this dead land.
Maybe we ought to send the ordinance officer to take care and clean up that area.
Well, once we vacate it and they get noticed, then they'll be encouraged to clean it up or do whatever they need to do with it.
Larry?
I just need a clarification now. So we go ahead and abandon this property, and then how does it get divided to the other owners?
Half and half
Could you
is generally.
answer that question?
Half and half generally.
Each
It's
property.
always
Half-
half and half.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so then they have a little larger lot that,
correct.
right, so forth. So I guess the positive side of that is, well, we're going to get a little bit of more tax money,
Yeah,
as I see it. And
Not
it's
very much, but-
It's not, I'm speaking. As I see it, it's serving no purpose to us. So why don't we go ahead and clean up the slate, so to speak, and then we'll get a little more tax money, and we don't have to, and the other thing is, we don't have to maintain it. And quite frankly, there may be weeds up there and so forth, and we don't have to maintain this thing. So, you tell me, what is wrong with that?
Paul?
I don't know, where's the tax gonna come from? I mean,
No.
that property itself is already taxed.
No, it's not taxed.
Increase the tax on it?
It's not
It's
taxed.
not
The owners are going to take it, are going to.
Paul, right now, those lots are not included, they're not assessed. They're city-owned, so they're not on the tax rolls. They will be added on.
Their property, you mean to tell me that their property, once we vacate it, that their property is gonna extend through all that
Yes.
area back there?
Each side gets half of it. Each property
Each side.
owner gets
It's
half.
split down the middle.
Yeah, let's get one for it.
Okay, do you have anything else, Wade?
No, I don't.
I'm going to open this up to public hearing now. So if anyone wants to speak on behalf of the public about this, you can come up and speak on it. I don't blame you. Okay.
Sometimes you have to ask for forgiveness later. Joe Caruso, 721 Granite Street, Florence, Colorado. So that everybody's aware, the map that you're looking at, see this little section right here? You take that and go due west. That portion was vacated back in 1942 as part of a CF&I plat. All this is doing is bringing that portion and the remainder of Sylvanite back to where it should have been. In reality, had somebody done their job back in 42, there would have been tax doles coming. To your point, Mr. Villagrana, I will gain a 25 by 150 foot piece of property, which technically is a city lot. My other neighbor, Mr. Martinez, as well as the gentleman down at the corner, will also gain 25, and in reality, they're going to gain a little bit more, about 175. So it will be some tax dollars. How much? Maybe 12, 15 bucks a year. But guess what? You know what it cost me to maintain that over the last 10 years? A lot more than that. So I'm glad to see that the city is moving forward on some of these areas that truly are a bridge to nowhere. And it makes perfect sense to do this because you have homeowners that want to take legal ownership of it without having to suffer any retribution from the entity if they were to put a swimming pool or a garden or something like that. So obviously I'm in favor of it, and I hope that you make the decision that you feel is best.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to go back out of public hearing. And,
Let's read this, okay, Mayor?
yeah,
Needs to be read.
you want Dory to read it?
Needs to be read.
Ordinance number 7-2015, an ordinance vacating a portion of Sylvanite Street from Marble Street west to the end of the platted right-of-way. Whereas the city of Florence on its own petition seeks to vacate a portion of Sylvanite Street from Marble Street west to the end of the platted right-of-way, informally known as Sylvanite Street. And whereas a public hearing on said proposed vacation was held on August 17, 2015 by the City Council of the City of Florence. And whereas the City Council of the City of Florence is vested with the authority to undertake said vacations pursuant to CRS 432301, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Florence as follows. Section 1, vacation. The City Council hereby vacates a portion of Sylvanite Street from Marble Street West to the end of the platted right-of-way as depicted on the attached Exhibit A. Section 2, vesting. Title to the vacated portion of the road, street, alley, or other public right-of-way shall vest pursuant to CRS 432302. Section 3, access. No property owner shall be divested of proper access to his or her property as a consequence of the above vacation.
Okay.
Wade and Sam, can I ask you both a question? In terms of any potential uses for any reason to keep an easement across this piece of property, can you see any potential use for it?
No, we wouldn't recommend approval of it.
Okay, so no reason to reserve any easement.
It's not land that you've had to go back across or anything for any kind of maintenance or anything? Okay. All right. Need a motion?
Oh, I will make a motion to approve ordinance number 7-2015, an ordinance vacating a portion of Sylvanite Street from Marble Street west to the end of the platted right-of-way.
Second.
First, second. Any further comments before I go on any further? Roll call, please.
Baker?
Aye.
Martinez?
Aye.
Henninger? Aye. Lagana?
Aye.
Mayor Orr?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, next we're going to move on to visitors. And first visitor we got up is Johnny McGinnis.
My name's John McGinnis. I live at 115 West Main Street in Florence. Recently, our city brought in the assessment team that spent several days in our town, assessing our community, looking at things that we could do to improve, to be a stronger community, things like that. They met with the townspeople, the merchants, the schools. Obviously, they met with y'all a lot. And one of the results that came out of that assessment that we're real concerned with and real interested in was that Florence needed to have a professional marketing person come in and develop a brand for our town and have a professional artist work with them to develop the logo that would represent that new brand. We realize the city has no money to do this. You're talking about professional marketing agencies. You're talking about a lot of money, professional artists coming in as well. However, Pauline was one of those members of that team. She was or is a professional marketing agent from Denver. And her suggestion for Florence was, as far as a marketing brand, was find it in Florence. As president of the Florence Merchants Association, took that back to the Merchants Association and suggested that we consider endorsing that as a brand for Florence. I know the Florence Merchants, as you well know, and most everybody else have been staunch supporters of Florence is the antique capital of Colorado, and that doesn't go away. However, maybe that doesn't need to be the brand for Florence, and we realize that. And so we took it back, we talked it over, and we realized that as a brand for Florence, find it in Florence, that it could be used, as Pauline suggested, for everybody, not just antique dealers, that it could be used for realtors, find it in Florence, your new home, that it could be used by the Chamber of Commerce, find it in Florence, your next business opportunity, that it could be used by us, find it in Florence, Antique Capital of Colorado, but it could also be used by some of our other members who are art galleries and restaurant owners. And so we did look at it, and we voted that, yes, we would like to endorse that and begin working toward that becoming the official brand for Florence, Colorado. The merchants are made up of 20 downtown businesses. They're, as I said, art galleries, restaurants, and antique dealers. And in an expression of community cooperation, they voted to be willing to go this direction and suggest this as the brand for Florence. We've talked with Wade. I've worked with Wade a good bit since those the assessment group was here, and knowing again that the city does not have the budget to work in the areas of these brands and the logos and stuff, we did contact some professional local artists that would work pro bono. We specified that in contacting them, and had 18 submissions of different art pieces or art logos that would represent this as the brand for Florence. And this is the one that the committee came up with. We presented it to the Merchants Association last week at our meeting, and the Merchants Association accepted that and endorses that as the logo to go along with the brand. The assessment team also recommended that the brand and logo, once it was established, be used in everything. Anything that promoted Florence, anything that represented Florence. Right now, the Historic Committee, of which Dick Upton is a member, unfortunately he's not here today, they are working they're in the process of commissioning from a time-sensitive grant, from what I understand, the new gateway piece that comes in from the north end of town, where you cross the river. And they're having different artists work on that at this point. One of the suggestions, again, from the assessment team was that the brand and logo needs to be associated with everything that we do in the town. It gets, whether it's marketing or whether it's anything local. And they even mentioned gateways. And of course we know, and I told Dick, I said, I don't know where this is going, how quickly this is going to happen, but it's a whole lot cheaper to incorporate a brand and logo in a piece of artwork than it is to add it later. And so Dick is waiting to hear back from this. Time is of the essence because of that. There is also a grant that Dick's working with me on that is available to us, that is time sensitive, and it can be used for local directional signage, of which, again, the assessment team says use your logo that promotes your brand on these signs. And these would be signs that would give direction to the Cultural Arts Center, to the Historic Museum, that type of thing. They would be signs that would cost us a good bit, because they would be the metal cutout signs that the prison makes, and they don't come cheap. But right now we've got a grant. That grant will disappear pretty quickly, and that's why we've come to you, and we don't want to just act alone. Dick says, you know, we've got the money. They said it's approved. Go ahead and do this. We don't want to do that. That's been done in Florence over and over and over in years past by this little group or this little group or this little group. What we would like to see is, even though I know city councils typically don't come up with the brand for a city, okay, but we need somebody that kind of pulls things together and we've got a city planner now, and I've talked with Wade, I've talked with our mayor, and I said what we would like to do before we invest money in something, and before we just put signs up on Highway 115 in downtown, and people say, well, who gave you authority to do that? Well, we would like the blessing, I guess is what I'm asking, the endorsement and approval of City Council to adopt this as our brand and to adopt this as the logo before we proceed with putting any of either our money in it or grant money in it. We don't need another direction that we're going for us to change direction somewhere down the road. But we are looking at some time-sensitive things. And so what I would like to do is ask for a vote, if we could, that's at your discretion, for the City Council to either endorse or not endorse, or approve or not approve the use of this brand that was given to us and this logo that was also given to us. So it's not cost us anything at this point.
All right, any questions for Mr. McInnes?
Comment?
Sure.
So I've been talking to Johnny throughout this process and some of the merchants, and this is precisely some of the things that were supposed to come out of the Main Street assessment and the dialogue. And so the person that kind of came up with that logo is a professional, and I thought it was a nice touch of kind of capturing the antiques as well as being a little bit broader and more inclusive than that. And I thought that the way they've gone about it is having the dialogue. Been talking for a couple of months since we did that in the middle of May, and actually a couple of meetings kind of thinking about it, and then going to votes is a very democratic process. So this was, the intended consequence is to encourage something like this to happen organically as the city facilitate the dialogue, and then the people most impacted by it would actually have the discussion and come up with what they would want. So this was sort of what we're hoping would happen from having that dialogue with the assessment team.
Okay. Charlotte?
Mr. Mayor, I think this logo is great, and if everybody's agreeing on this logo, I think we should move forward with it and adopt it.
Okay. I'll just sort of get a general consensus of what everybody feels about it. That way we don't have to vote, just an approval if we feel this is good or not is all we need to do. So Paul, do you have anything to say?
No.
Okay. All right. Tony?
No. I would endorse it.
Okay.
Not a problem.
All right. And I find that it's fine. So it looks like you got the majority of it. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other visitors that want to come up and talk?
Ron Hinkle, 910 West 3rd Street in Florence, and Rialto Theater board member. I'd like to report to the council and to the members at large tonight of a very successful Florence Rialto Theater auction we had on Saturday. As was reported in the Daily Record today on the lead story and a couple of photos, it was very, very successful. What they didn't report, which they weren't given the information in time, was that we generated more than $3,000 on Saturday's auction. And the net and the gross is basically the same because a lot of the things that were in the auction were donated, as well as services. For example, Twin Enviro donated a couple of dumpsters and a couple of porta potties, pro bono. Bill Price, the auctioneer, was pro bono as well. And so the total that we generated was right around just a little over $3,000. So I'd like to officially say that a lot of people found the Rialto in Florence. But we are very appreciative of the board. We've got a new board that's been appointed and energized, and a lot of enthusiasm. And I think that you'll see a lot happening in the Rialto. A lot of those members that were there Saturday are in the audience as well tonight. So on behalf of the Rialto board, we thank the city and our community for supporting the Rialto board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Hard work. Any other visitors? Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. Request for the street closure for Tour de Coal Towns.
I will
Go ahead.
I will do that. This was discussed at the last council meeting. This is to close Pikes Peak between Front and Railroad from 7 to 10 on September 12th, as 7 to 12 in the morning, on September 12th, as part of the Tour de Coal Towns Fun Run. One of the we went through this, we discussed this with the chief and with Public Works, and we're very comfortable with this. The adjoining property owners, essentially, one of them sitting right here in front of me, and I haven't heard any opposition from anybody. I think that's, for that 3 hours, there's really no opposition to it that we've heard. So we do recommend that council approves this. But going back to the discussion we had at the last meeting, because this is not on a state highway, and this is a relatively mundane street closure, my recommendation to council is that you just have us handle these administratively in the future, so you don't have to do this at each council meeting. You can continue to bring it here as we, apparently this wasn't the tradition before. We've recently started it, we're not really sure why, and we don't think it makes sense. So we're thinking on these kind of mundane ones, if they don't involve a state highway, pretty simple closure, that probably just handle this administratively with the Public Works Director and the Police Chief, making sure that there's not some reason, and then we check with the neighbors and kind of go from there. But because we've still been doing it this way, we're still going to ask you to do this one, and then future ones we'll make the change.
Sir, I would make a motion that we allow road closure from South Pike Street between Front Street and Railroad Avenue from 7 in the morning to 10 in the morning.
Second.
On September 12th.
September 12th.
September 12th.
And it's Railroad Street. On Avenue. Okay. We have first and second. Roll call, please.
Villagrana.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Henninger. Martinez.
Aye.
Mayor Moore.
Aye.
And to be clear, we will bring back any street closures that involve a state highway. We do not have the authority to do that. You do.
You know, I approve of everything that you said, but it would be kind of nice that when this happens, that, you know, during the committee meeting,
You report on
to
it.
inform us. But I do approve of it.
Okay, so we just gonna take this to new business.
You might probably mention that, but you want to say
Yeah, I'm gonna slide the election of the Mayor Pro Tem down to new business, because I don't know, it's under unfinished business.
Okay.
So it's gonna go under new business, down. And we'll clean these up first and then go to that. Resolution 16-2015, approving a grant application with DOLA for East Main Street water line, curb, gutter, sidewalk, and drainage project. Wait.
Yeah,
Are you there?
I gave you guys a, trying to anticipate things here. I gave you guys an update the last council meeting that we put in a grant application, Department of Local Affairs, for a rather large grant to piggyback off the work that the State Highway Department is going to be doing at the intersection of 67 and Highway 150. They're planning to spend $3.7 million on a highway repair project at the intersection, going out a block in each direction. And we've always thought that would be a good time, since we're ripping up the street, to finish our main water line replacement. We have the money in our accounts to do that. So we were going to use that as our match money to then go after a grant from the Department of Local Affairs to do some stormwater improvements. CDOT's got to take some of the water off the highway and get it someplace legal to begin with. So we had a meeting with Dan Hunt, the project engineer, on Thursday, and they are going to pay for the first block of the stormwater and the street replacement on Florence up to 3rd Street from the state highway, which is a big deal. We didn't know they were going to do that. And so this grant that we're asking you to approve a resolution is large numbers. They're kind of general right now. We're working on a more refined cost estimate, so it won't be to exceed this. But this will take our water money as our match, and it'll go for it'll be used to basically build a stormwater pipe that will tie into CDOT's pipe, but basically our pipe then, and then get the stormwater off of Highway 115 down Florence. And too bad Mr. Upton's not here because he's the main recipient of all that water in town that goes into his fields. And so we've been, Dory and Don Moore have been working on this for years, and this is Richard Saxon's firm has been looking into this. So this will finally be a very large construction project, and people won't be happy for a little while when it's getting built, but it may actually alleviate a lot of the stormwater issues because, as Mr. Saxon said, as we've noticed, even just the regular kind of summer downpour is now flooding people's houses. It's flooding Upton's fields. So if we actually have like a 500, 800 year event, this is going to be pretty catastrophic. So this grant application would piggyback on CDOT, and it would allow us to do all the construction, fix the highway, CDOT will fix the street, we'll fix the water, we'll do the curb and gutter, sidewalks, and then we'll take care of stormwater improvements and take the water all the way down into either a new drainage pond or, wherever we're actually able to do a study and figure out where the water is going to need to go. And so it actually makes it a little bit easier for CDOT to deal with the highway. And
You know what that sound means?
I know, you're finally.
Been around here long enough.
And having the meeting with CDOT, they say they run into some issues when they have to either condemn or deal with the agricultural land. So it's a little bit easier for the city to deal with getting easements through that property than it is for CDOT. And we told them that we actually have the easement through the last vacation for Upton. So we've actually, that action that you guys took a couple months ago is actually paying off. So really this application just going in is going to take a couple months because it's a large request to be processed. And so we have to have a council resolution on the application to be officially processed. So that's what you'd be doing tonight. Any questions?
Questions?
Go ahead.
Larry?
Well, now, estimated cost for this for us?
It's a $2.2 million total project, and so one of it is $1 million round figure for our water money. That's
$1 million for water, for
$1 million
which we have.
$1 million to get $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if we're going to spend $1 million, why not, at least get another $1 million for a project that we've needed to do. And I'm going to keep on following up with other agencies because stormwater's a pretty hot topic in Colorado. Unfortunately, we're under 10,000 people, so we're exempt for some regulations, but there may actually be some money for the stormwater pond because that's one thing. We'll have to figure out exactly where that goes, how we get rights to build that, and how much that costs. So if there's additional monies, we're going to go hunting for those, just knowing that there might be some issues in the future.
Okay.
But that will take care of everything we got, right?
As much as we can, yeah.
Done.
Yeah. We all know there's a flooding problem, so we're actually going to try to all combine so we don't have to tear up the street again and put the water line in or tear it in to put stormwater pipes in.
You said East Main. Are they going to do like a curb and gutter right there with the open, like a ditch there? You're going to cover that up?
Yes.
Curb gutter sidewalk.
Yeah, curb gutter sidewalk. And there'll be, basically there'll be a couple studies actually for our part of it to figure out exactly the size that we need and then what it's going to look like.
Time frame at this point, about when do you think this might happen?
CDOT wants to go out to bid next May. It always is a little bit longer than you think it's going to take, and they haven't even finished the environmental. So, the construction, the end of the fall of next year.
Fall of next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it takes at least till, December, a little after that for the DOLA to award those grants that are over $1 million.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? None? Okay, need a motion on the floor. I need one.
I thought you said we had one.
No, I said I need a motion on the floor.
Make the motion that we adopt resolution number 16, 2015, supporting an application for a Department of Local Affairs, Energy, and Mineral Impact Assistance and grant for the final phase of the Main Street water main replacement and storm water drainage improvements in the amount of $1,200,000 for a project total of $2,200,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second roll call, please.
Juliana.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Henninger.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
That was it. Okay, next, we need affirmation of vehicle lease from Centennial Leasing Incorporated, and that'd be you, Mike.
Okay, to make it clear to council what this is, we have a police officer, a detective who's assigned to a drug enforcement unit. They provide him a vehicle. They pay for the vehicle, they make all the lease payments on the vehicle. The only thing that we do is provide insurance for it. We've already been providing the insurance for a vehicle that's in the budget. We anticipate that the difference for the year is going to be pennies between the two vehicles. But we do need council to affirm this lease. Again, HIDA, and I'd have to ask Mike De Laurentiis to tell me what HIDA stands for, but it's a Federal Drug Task Force, and they make the lease payment. To us, it's already what we've budgeted in terms of our insurance budget for the year. So we're just asking you to affirm this. We are, to make it very clear, we are not responsible for any lease payments. We don't make any of those lease payments. We don't sign for it. I don't sign for it. The mayor doesn't sign for it. The federal government signs for it. Our only part of it is we provide the insurance as part of it, which we have already been doing and had agreed to that one portion of it and budgeted that when Patrick joined the task force.
Okay, is that pretty clear to everybody? Okay.
We just need a motion approving or affirming this lease.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve a resolution, or actually affirming a vehicle lease, and just a few details. It's a 2015 Ram 1500 SL2 crew cab, etc. The annual payment is $7,800, and this will be taken care of by another party that we really don't have any cost because
Right,
there is no cost to us.
No cost, it was not
Except for the
already
insurance.
budgeted.
And the $7,800 will be paid by HIDTA, and I think you tried to tell us what that is. Or
They
maybe
call it
the-
HIDA, but
HIDA, but I'm not sure.
I would need Chief De Laurentiis if he knows what that acronym stands for. I don't, to be honest.
It's a secret.
So anyways, that's the motion.
We can find out if you really want to know.
No. As long as they're paying it, we can.
Yeah, as long as they're paying it. That's good to
Okay.
me.
We got a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Or do you got a question?
No, second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion on this before we move on? Okay, roll call, please.
Baker.
Aye.
Henninger.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Villagrana.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Bye-bye.
Next, resolution 17-2015, adopting Eastern Fremont County Trails, Open Space, and River Corridor Master Plan. Wait.
This is a project that's been going on for a couple of years. I came in the tail end of it, and the city's been going to a lot of the technical planning meetings. A firm has done a nice job of doing a master plan for trails, and eventually actually getting the connection, trail connection to Florence, to Canyon City, which is something I think that would benefit us in the future. We don't have a lot of money or any money really allocated to build things right now, so this is kind of like planting an apple tree or peach tree now, and eventually when we're ready and we have funds and opportunities come up, this plan will identify those connections, some of those projects, some of those preliminary costs, and we can move forward with grants and doing things with that. We've already been talking to CDOT about maybe moving up some of the discussions about getting that pedestrian or bike connection between the two cities, so this will help that as well. But in general, it's pretty good plans, identified some things, but this hasn't been a top priority. We don't have a ton of money to build these trails, but this master plan will help, get us grant funding and get us support when we eventually do look at building those connections.
Okay, any questions for Wade? None? All right.
Make a motion that we adopt resolution number 17, 2015. a resolution of the Florence City Council adopting the Eastern Fremont County Trails Open Space and River Corridor Master Plan.
Second.
Okay, we have a first, second. Roll call.
Villagrana.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Henninger. Aye. Baker.
Aye.
Mayor Moore.
Aye.
Five ayes.
Okay, next, the appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission, also the youth member, the council member. Wait, did you just want to stand up there?
Yeah, you're gonna, we earn a chair up there, right?
Yeah.
Sam Bobby sent an email to me and Dory expressing interest. She's the one who was our intern last spring, and she'll probably be an intern again, doing some land use work with us. And fresh, I think now she's a sophomore, a real hard worker, really good, actually really interested in, strangely enough, in civic government and city council and planning. And so I think she'd be a great addition to the Historic Preservation Commission. And then all I know about the council appointment, that's up to you guys and to the mayor. And I know Mr. Upton called and said that he's got too much on his plate, so he would be okay if somebody else was appointed to be the liaison.
Mind if I want to just explain that?
Go ahead.
Last meeting, we had some discussion about whose responsibility it is to appoint the different positions. For the adults on the commission, it's the full council. For the student representatives, it's the mayor's. So, we checked with the city attorney, he figured all that out, and so.
And the council.
The council representative is also a mayoral appointment.
Right.
But they've still got to appoint this guy.
Yes. Ken? Yeah. Okay, so Ken.
We need a motion to approve Ken Morris, if council wants to approve him.
So made.
Second?
Okay. Roll call.
Okay. Villagrana.
Yes.
Baker.
Aye.
Henninger.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
And Mayor Orr.
Aye.
Five ayes.
Okay, now I guess we can move on to the election of the mayor pro tem. I don't know how you want to go about this, or if you want to just table this till Dick gets back, but it's up to you guys.
Let's move forward.
How you want to do it. All I need to know is who's interested in running for the election of mayor pro tem.
I'd like to put my name into the pot.
Okay.
I feel that I'm well qualified. I've been on the council for 6 years now, and I think I could do a very good job.
Okay. Do you need to give a fancy speech, or are you just going to hold up your hand? All right, go ahead.
I'm not giving you a fancy speech. I just raised my hand.
Okay, that's what I asked. Okay, what we'll do is let's just take a vote. And your papers are in front of you, the small papers, just write down how you feel.
I don't have a paper.
Tony, do you have a paper?
Tony, do you have a paper?
I have paper.
Gonna stay out of this one? No. Oh, already? No hurry on this one, huh? I got all day, right?
Is this now? Did you use for
There you go.
Needs to be locked in the safe.
What, yes, and now it's probably cold.
Is your hands wet? Hands wet. You're sliding on me.
Results of the first ballot are Baker 3, Villagrana 2.
So Baker is the new mayor pro tem. Now that we got that over.
And do I get a raise?
Yeah, we'll put your chair up 2 inches. That's the biggest raise you're gonna get.
Damn.
That's all you get.
We'll get you a booster seat.
Okay.
What about the change of the next meeting?
Yep, that's coming up.
Oh, is that?
The what?
Right there, change the next meeting.
You missed that one, didn't you?
But we haven't got there yet.
Oh, you switched the order. Oh, you have an old agenda apparently.
Oh, you got your
Mine doesn't say
packet
that.
too soon, yeah.
Right.
He
Mine
got his
doesn't say.
packet. He got his packet before we got finished.
Mine is blank on that end.
No, it just, well.
Okay, the change in the next meeting date to Tuesday, September 8th, 2015.
And state the reason.
Motion to do that?
Yes.
As stated.
Okay, second? Second.
Yes.
First, second. Roll call.
Filigrana. Penninger.
New update.
Martinez.
Aye.
Baker.
Aye.
Mayor Orr.
Aye.
The reason for that is
Is
because...
Labor Day.
Because of Labor Day.
All right,
Yeah.
Because we just wanted to.
just one.
Okay, Mayor's report. I just wanted to report on the last event we had. This was the barn dance, was a real good success. As Bob's seen and several others, there was a lot of turnout there. A lot of people there, and it did a lot of good. Charlotte was there. We even line danced together, didn't we? That was pretty good.
I don't necessarily want to remember that.
Larry? Yeah, we all were there. Don't ask me how they talked us into it, but we did. And we weren't even drinking.
Who they call Mr. Baker, Crazy Legs Larry?
But I want to report that these events are really great for the town. I mean, they bring a lot of people in, plus they bring the town really close together. So I think the more events we have like this is excellent for this town. We get good support from the papers and everything. They covered it real good. I've seen a lot of good pictures in there. So anytime we can get more events in this town, I'm all for it. And that's my report.
Why would they report that we're trimming trees today?
Yeah.
And we're going to trim.
Well,
Yes. You should report
we're butchering trees today.
on Main Street.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the committee reports. So do any of you have committee report?
I don't have one.
Charlotte does.
No, I really don't have a committee report, but I would like to ask to be considered for the preservation committee.
Okay, duly noted. You got that written down?
Oh.
There's a name. Do we have a lot of other names?
It's whoever on council wants to be appointed.
Who else on council wanted to be on that? I know I heard
Well, I
people.
think Dick Upton has expressed, I did also, that
I think
Did
Dick
you have a
said he
list?
wanted to withdraw.
Oh,
his name.
Too busy.